Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where I have settled on a design largely here. As you can see, the canards are back and they have control surfaces on them. I've also enlarged the tail fin a little bit here, and this is the engine placement that we're going with. This thing is now very, very, very stable. So that's great. We are relatively pleased with it, particularly once it gets up to speed here, and now we just need to be making attempts. But at least we have the design relatively finalized. You can see it's a little sluggish at this speed, but once we build up our speed a little bit more, it starts to be quite snappy and rather stable. But yeah, low airspeed is definitely the enemy. It still has a little bit of a natural nose down to it, but that's nothing that we can't deal with. So we're going to come right on through this checkpoint here, and we're going to immediately be banking out over this way, right? We just need to figure out where all of these checkpoints are and just kind of go for them at this point. So there's checkpoint 3. Checkpoint 4 is back over this way. And you can see now that we are up to airspeed, this thing is very stable. There's a little bit of wiggle to it, but it's much more stable than the previous design, that's for sure. We need to lose a little altitude here, come around like that. There we go. Checkpoint 5 is up over this way. And we'll see if I'm successful on this or not. But at least we have the plane design in a reasonable state, right? Now it's a question of, is the pilot reasonable? And the answer is probably no. I'm very bad at planes, but we'll see if we're able to get this done. Just making some minor adjustments on the way through. The natural nose down is still mildly problematic, but it's something that we can handle, right? So I'm not that concerned about it. So that's checkpoint 6 out over there. Noted. We're going to need to nose up a little bit over here. And you can see it definitely naturally noses down. We have to correct for that. Okay, we are at a somewhat awkward angle here. Oh, okay. That's unfortunate. I was hoping we'd get that. We were a little too high. Well, I don't know how we're doing on time yet. I've not made it all the way through this before, but we'll see. Okay, let's just bring this around over here like that. There we go. We came through it kind of the wrong direction, but that's, you know, probably fine. As far as checkpoint 7 goes, ooh, that's a pretty tight one. Okay, it's small and it's low. Let's see how this goes. Got it. Okay, beautiful. So now we're going to have to come out over here. Checkpoint 8 is a ways away. Again, it's small and it's low. Okay, this is going to be interesting to come out of. Yeah, that's really low, and the terrain there is rough. Okay, this is the furthest I've gotten in this air race at this point, so from here we're just kind of finding things out. But, like, this is really, really low. Yeah, like, that is so low, and it's in a pit there. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. I don't know how we're going to approach that one yet, because... yeah, that's going to be spicy. That's going to be the tough one. We'll see if the others beyond that are similarly tough, but that is down in a pit, and it is very tough for us to get to. We are not really up to airspeed right now, so this bank is awkward here, but we can definitely achieve it. So yeah, we're just going to make some attempts at this right now, and I'm just learning how to fly this particular contraption and learning where these checkpoints are right now. That is the idea. So these are learning runs. I'm not expecting to nail any of these. I'd be shocked if we completed this successfully by the end of this episode. absolutely shocked. Okay, checkpoint 3. No problem. Checkpoint 4 is a pretty generous one. We're banking a little too hard here. Okay, so checkpoint 4 is fairly generous. We're just going to bring this around over here and then down a bit, like so. And then pull out of this, like, quasi-dive that we've got here. Again, that's fairly generous. And then checkpoint 5 is, of course, up over here. Okay. Also, the yaw needs to be inverted. I just noticed that. So that is absolutely noted. Not that we really utilize the yaw very much. We're mostly just using this tail as a stabilizer. Okay, so checkpoint 5 is right up over here. We just don't want to have too much altitude, right? There we go. Checkpoint 6 is off this way. Seems reasonably fine. Okay. So we're making a decent run for checkpoint 6 here, but I want to come at it from a slightly different angle. Something kind of like this or so. We're going a little too far down here. There we go. So then checkpoint 7 is, of course, out over here. It's quite low. Oh, we got that. I'm surprised we got that. Okay, checkpoint 8. This is the hard one. So, how do we want to approach this? Man. Oh, that is so evilly positioned. That is a really evilly positioned location. So, looking at what we've got here, right? Overall, it's just really, really low, and it's in this pit. So we have to go down, kiss the ground, and come back up over here. That's kinda nuts. Well, let's give it a go. We need to figure out a technique to get in there. It's mostly... Well then. Situation nominal. Okay. It's mostly just a matter of... finding a route to take that we can reliably reproduce. That's the idea. So our airspeed is low here, so this bank always is a little bit awkward, but we'll head on over. Building that airspeed up, and things are definitely getting more controllable as our airspeed rises. Landing this is going to be interesting. I have no idea how we're going to achieve that one yet. But for now, I'm much more concerned about how we're going to achieve checkpoint 8. That guy is a spicy boy. No doubt about it. Overbanked this a little bit. Okay, there we go. Checkpoint 3, and then checkpoint 4 is, of course, out over here. We'll come at it this way a bit, and then start our bank out over here. Not even that much of a bank required. Okay, so checkpoint 4 is easy. Checkpoints 5 and 6 are small, but relatively easy to line up because they are quite a long straightaway before we get to them, right? So that is fine. Okay. So we're just getting this all set up. Ooh, that's a little bit too much nose up there. Okay. So checkpoint 5 is there. And then, of course, checkpoint 6. Out over this way. So checkpoint 6, we can come at it from a slightly different angle out over here. And this makes it a much better line of sight to checkpoint 6, which makes things a whole lot easier. But that checkpoint 8, that is evil. And I don't yet know. Hang on. we had too much altitude there. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That was my own fault. Like I said, I am bad at flying planes. Okay, let's see about bringing it around. I don't think we're going to get this. Actually, we kind of got it. Okay, so checkpoint 7 is, of course, a ways out there, right? So we need to bank this around over here and then come around over this way. I'm deliberately trying to lose altitude right now because we know that checkpoint 7 is low, right? So we need to lose quite a lot of altitude here and come in kind of like that. There we go. Now, this is the evil one. There's definitely a way to do it. No doubt about that. There is a way to do it, and this is not it. Okay, so we're currently diving down considerably. Ooh, okay, that was exciting. Yeah, that's not the way to do that. So there's definitely a way to do it. I think we're going to be best off taking our time on that one. Banking out, around, and then coming in. It has to be a dive down and then pull up as we go through, which is complicated. Very complicated to do indeed. I'm assuming that this is the hard one, and that if we can get to the point where we can consistently get through 8, then we can, in theory, get the rest of this done. Okay. Situation is off nominal. Yes, situation is off nominal. We're going to have to redo that one. Good old physics bug. Okay. Well, now. I do want to, after this attempt, if I remember, I want to get this yaw inverted. Not like we use the yaw, like ever, except in this initial like runway portion. And even then we're mostly using the steering on the wheels, right? But I definitely do want to come around over this way, get banked to the checkpoint. There we go. A little more, I think. Overbanked now. Something kind of like this. It's a little awkward before we get the airspeed built up. But once the airspeed is built up, it's not bad. Okay, so we're going to sail around over this way, of course. And right into this checkpoint in theory, assuming that I don't overbank it. There we go. And now we're going to have to bring it right on around for checkpoint 4, which is a very generous checkpoint. That checkpoint 8 is evil, though. That is a very rude placement of that. Okay, so now we're around to checkpoint 5. 5 and 6 are, again, fairly easy. Checkpoint 7 is a little bit rougher, but it's not too bad. Checkpoint 8, though, that positioning is insane. Absolutely bonkers. Okay, let's just bring ourselves over this way a little bit. Overbanked there. Overbanked again. Yeah, okay. That didn't go well. That was my fault. 100% my fault. I'm a bad pilot. What can I say? Okay, back around we come. And through checkpoint 5. Excellent. Now to checkpoint 6. So we're just going to rotate ourselves around over this way, get a little distance out over here, and then bank this back over this way. We're going to need to lose some altitude, of course, which we are happy to do. Checkpoint 7, we're going to have to lose a lot of altitude for anyway. So this seems fine. Losing altitude is not that difficult, as long as we have a little time, right? So that's not a huge deal. Okay, there's checkpoint 6. And we need to remain low for checkpoint 7. There we go. And now checkpoint 8. This is the evil one. So there are a couple of potential approaches here. And I think I keep wanting to go for this approach here, where we just dive down like that. We got it. Okay, that's the way to go. Checkpoint 9. Okay. Did not nail that. That was really, really close there, but I had no idea what to expect from checkpoint 9, right? So let's just loop this guy right on around. We're coming at this pretty high. We're going to have to come at it from another loop here. That's fine. So I'm going to bring this around and bank it like so. This is still pretty high, actually. We got to try that again. Okay. So, I mean, we're losing a lot of time right now, but I'm not too concerned about time at the moment. What I'm really concerned about right now is just figuring out where each checkpoint is and what the complicated checkpoints are, right? That's what we're interested in right now. Okay, so let's get ourselves banked over here. We're losing altitude. This one's fairly generous. That's not too bad. So 10 is not too bad. 9 is doable if we know what we're looking for sure. And then this is 11 out over here. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah. And then 12. So we're on checkpoint 12. We've done some loop-de-loops and stuff. We missed a checkpoint a couple of times, and I can't help but notice we have lots of time. So time is not really that much of a concern here either. Noted. So there's 12. 13 is 11 kilometers out. That's quite distant. Okay. I'm not entirely sure where it is yet. Noted. And then there's going to be the landing, right? The landing will be the complicated one. So I think that approach for 8 is going to work. We're just going to have to get some more practice at it and just get a little bit more used to it. So checkpoint 13, it's pretty small. Noted. Ooh, hang on. That didn't go all that well. We were not well lined up there. Again, I don't think time is going to be that big of a concern. So let's just loop ourselves around here and take another pass at it. We've got 4.5 minutes right now. Ooh, hang on. This mountain is extending a little further than I thought it was. Okay, so this is definitely not the best way to loop around. I mean, honestly, in the end, we're going to want to nail it the first time, right? But this first time through, it'll be interesting to just figure out where all of these are. Okay. So checkpoint 13 is a little bit dicey because it's a fairly narrow pass, but that's not too bad. Nothing like checkpoint 8. Checkpoint 14 is quite a lot of kilometers away. We still have 4 minutes here, and keep in mind, the landing checkpoint should be checkpoint 15. So we just need to cruise our way on through here. And in theory, we have lots of time. About 3.5 minutes. Our time is definitely going down a bit. These last ones are pretty far out, but this looks very generous. It's big. And so that does not look too bad at all. So checkpoint 8 is definitely the complicated one. And we even missed and looped back on a couple of checkpoints here, and we've still got 3 minutes here. So this does not look too bad. Okay, so now we're going back to the village. What direction is this? Oh, okay. I see. Well, that was exciting. So we're coming in at the village on the opposite direction as usual. So we probably want to go all the way around and not go for the landing from that direction like I just did, because that's probably really, really bad. So I think we just cut the engines at some point and try to glide our way back in. and try to come in fairly slowly. The main problem, of course, and you can see here, we have lots and lots of time. The main problem, of course, is that we have a significant amount of airspeed that we want to shed as we come in for our landing, but, and this is a big but, we lose a lot of attitude control as our airspeed goes down. We know that that's going to be a bit of an issue. Okay, well, let's give this one more go here, and let's see how this goes. Can we reproduce that position 8? That'd be great if we could. Let's start this bank, heading out over this way. Of course, our airspeed is low, and so our maneuverability is also fairly low at this point. We need to build up that airspeed. And we also need, of course, to get the situation under control as far as that landing goes. So that's going to be the next big challenge, assuming that we're able to fairly regularly hit checkpoint 8, which is still maybe a pretty big assumption here. We'll see. Okay, so we're through checkpoint 3 there. No problem. Onward to checkpoint 4. And yeah, we had lots and lots of time there, even with 2 loop-de-loops, so I do not think that we'll have any significant problem with timing with this plane. Okay, so we're going to move this around this direction. We're heading, of course, to checkpoint 5 at this point. We want to get a little bit of altitude to clear this hill in front of us here. There we go. And we'll start nosing down a little bit. We'll need to lose some altitude. Okay. We're in a slightly awkward angle right now, but this seems reasonably fine. There we go. Checkpoint 6 is, of course, off over here, and I want to overbank this, head up over this way, and come at it from this angle over here. We're quite content with this pathing. Okay. Checkpoint 7 is somewhat spicy. Okay. So there's checkpoint 6. Checkpoint 7, we keep it low. There we go. And now for the turbo spicy one. Checkpoint 8. Let's see how this one goes. Can we relatively consistently get this? Is the question. Oh, that was so tight there. We were so close to dying. And that was me overturning. Okay, that was a problem. that was a pilot issue there. Managed to not crash it, at least. But we know that timing is not really an issue. Let's just bring this on around here. And just try to bring ourselves in over this way. Not quite nailing that. 9 is going to require some practice too, it seems. Okay. So we're going to want to be out over this way and then angling upward like that. There we go. So 10 is, of course, fairly generous. No problem here. And then 11 is a ways out over this way. Wrong pitch direction. That's my fault. Okay, so checkpoint 11 is off here. There we go. Now for checkpoint 12. I think we've got checkpoint 8 to the point where I can get it with like 80% accuracy or so. I'm going to need to practice the pathing a bit to checkpoint 9. That seems okay. Checkpoint 12 here, no problem. And then checkpoint 13 and 14, they're both quite a ways out, so that is fine. Let's climb up a little bit here. We know we're going to need to go around the mountain this way. That is clearly the intended path here. So that seems fine. Just making a couple of adjustments here. And yeah, we still have a natural nose down, even at 300 meters per second. It's not as significant as it is at lower airspeeds, but it is definitely still present and needs to be compensated for. Okay, so we're just coming in over this way a little bit. We need to do something kind of like that. Cool. Checkpoint 13 done. And now for checkpoint 14. Which is quite a long ways out there and is quite generous. Then it's a matter of landing the craft, and that's going to be exciting. So you can see here, we've got lots of time this time, even with missing one of those. We have so much time. So time isn't a concern, we just need to nail the landing. That's going to be the concern at this point. So nailing the landing is going to be spicy. It usually is. So at this point, we know where all of the checkpoints are. It's just a matter of executing it, and assuming that I don't nail this time, which we probably should assume that I'm not going to nail this time, assuming that I do not nail this, we should have the next run that you see be a successful one. So that's the way that that's going to go. So at this point, I want to just bring this around. I'm going to cut the engines now, and we're going to start gliding. But we need to get lined up for this, right? So we need to bring this around and be banking this way. We're not terribly lined up for it right now. We're going to have to nose up a little bit. We have too much speed at this point. Okay, so let's bank it around. Something kind of like this. Okay, we're going to be building up a little bit more speed because we are, nose down a little bit. And I think we're probably going to need to get a little bit of engine actuation here, probably. We have low airspeed at this point, so I'm going to turn our engines back on as we bank here. Putting them maybe kind of low. Okay, so maybe at like 40% or so. We need to figure out what exactly we need to be at as we come in for this landing. 40% is maybe acceptable. Okay, let's take our time and get ourselves a good amount of space here. We have 2.5 minutes. 40% appears to be, we're losing airspeed a little bit here. So that's noted. But our airspeed is not tremendously high right now. Okay, let's just get ourselves lined up here. This is not quite the angling I want to be at. Okay. Let's bring this around. We're overbanked a little bit. We're really overbanked. Okay, we're going to have to abort that. That's noted. This thing controls wildly differently at this speed than it does at higher airspeeds. It's much more sluggish, so that is definitely noted. We're going to have to line this up. We have enough time to take one more run at this. I'm going to drop us down to about 30% on the engines. And then we're just going to bank this around. Okay, we're a little overshot here. And we're kind of low as well. Yeah, we definitely have too much altitude here. I'm going to drop us down to 20% on the engines. I think we have time for one more run. Assuming we get out of this bank. We did not. Okay. Well, like I said, that's going to be the spicy part at this point. I just need to practice that landing. So I think we get here with plenty of time. So I just need to do attempts at this and get better at getting that landing done. That lineup and finding the right engine, the right engine thrust point, that's going to be the big thing here. I'm going to make sure to save the plane here. That is going to be very important. I also want to, while I'm thinking about it, invert this yaw. That was absolutely a thing that we noted needed to happen. So that seems fine for now. Okay, next episode, we're going to start with finishing this race. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Hiro Marutsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.